Welcome back. With us this morning to take us through the newspapers, the entrepreneur Kate Hardcastle and the rapper. It does what it says on the hat. Zuby. I just realised.
So unbranded this morning.
And we didn't get the purple meno. Sorry about that.
He asked me in advance, could I be part of the team? So I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. I am getting a fee, though. That's OK, right?
Oh, OK. Let's kick off with the Telegraph and the licence fees. Some interesting solutions for the whole conundrum of the licence fee. Who should pay for it? Do they have to pay for it?
It rolls on, and obviously we've heard news this week as well that people are trying to look at ways to alleviate these awful fines that people have experienced, which has then put them into further financial difficulty. You know, the idea of a tier system is basically it would allow users to get so much content, and then the rest of it would be behind walls. So you would have to subscribe on various tiers to be able to access various programmes. It's pretty common sense, isn't it? I think what's happening at the BBC is so pivotal in terms of the change there. And I do appreciate, certainly because I travel so much, some of the facilities like the regional broadcast, I think that's really helpful. And some of the work they do, particularly in areas of business news. But for me, it's about making sure that the senior team there are understanding the audience. There seems to be a bit of a disconnect, and it's great that new appointments are being made there, but as a British institution almost, I'd just like to see perhaps almost an appointment of a board of listeners and watchers and viewers. You know, like the voice of the representative viewer is absolutely listened to and adhered to on a regular basis, because it's changing all the time, and that would help programming. It's going to help them be able to raise the funding to do it, and I think it's also going to make them more relevant.
Zuby, you have been looking at a story on the front page of The Express. There's been a survey, State of the Nation survey, and it's an optimistic picture of the country.
It is, yeah. I think it's worth saying that everything here I'm about to say needs to be taken with a big grain of salt, because they only polled 2,034 people. And but we'll talk about some of the results here. So what's interesting is the way they phrase the results are, you know, this percentage of Britain feels this way. But,
OK.
So I'm not sure. But what is good is that 45% of people surveyed say they feel more optimistic than pessimistic following the UK's withdrawal from the EU. The people were polled, I think, on the 5th and 6th of February, so very recently.
Of that 2,000?
Of the 2,000, yes. Everything here is of the 2,000. 82% of people feel safe in their local communities, with 16% saying that they feel unsafe. In terms of the top thing that is people's priority in the next couple of years, the number one was actually spending more time with family and friends, with the second one being earning more money, which is
That's the first
good.
thing I've heard that actually has relevance to me and my peers, I would say,
Yeah, and 85% of Britons over the age of 55 feel more stable than chaotic. 57% of 18 to 34-year-olds feel more stable than chaotic, which is also pretty good, because I think there's that picture of everybody freaking out with Brexit, especially younger people and everything like that. So at least the people polled here are generally optimistic. The most interesting one I found, though, was they asked who people would like to spend Valentine's Day with. And according to their own words, 40% of men in Britain want to spend Valentine's Day with Holly Willoughby, and 30% of women with Daniel Craig. So I think there was a little bit of a... I feel like they were nudged in a certain direction there.
Yeah, well, how many choices were there?
Yeah.
I know.
The choices were...
Gillian clearly wasn't on there.
To give some context, the choices about who you'd like to spend Valentine's Day with, here were the options. Boris Johnson, Piers Morgan, Holly Willoughby, Daniel Craig, Fiona Bruce, and Kate Middleton.
Wow.
So I think that gives a little more...
Slim options there.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, wives, girlfriends, that wasn't on there, so...
No, husband. Should we move on to someone you might want to spend Valentine's with? This daredevil, Twiggy, who's terribly cute. This is in the Times.
I think everything about this picture screams to me, there's no way that little squirrel is just gleefully just clinging on to that, is it? You know, those claws, and look at those little feet, they've been, like, welded into. But Twiggy and generations before Twiggy have been quite a feature at international boat shows. Who knew? Who knew? I've been missing out all of my life. I need to go back to the States and make sure my work there coincides with this. But unfortunately, in the Squirrel's debut in Vancouver at the International Boat Show, she may have actually violated some laws. Now, what's even more interesting, which my good friend Zubi pointed out here this morning, is it's quite a specific law. You've got it there. Can you just read this out? So the contravention might be the 1978 bylaw, which makes sure that rodent species are not used for competition, performance or exhibition in the city. So this is my question this morning. Who in 1978 sat there and went, good day at the office today?
Somebody with a lot of time on their hands.
You know what I did? I got those rodents sorted out. There's no way they're in the competition again. Done.
I want to know what the rodents
Mic drop.
I want to know what the rodents were up to that prompted them to make that law. I think that something happened in 1977.
They upset a lot of people in Vancouver.
We need to do some
bylaw
research on this, don't we?
Hey, these fines are nearly $5,000.
Really?
Yeah, that squirrel. We're going to have to do some fundraising.
There's a BAFTA winning a documentary coming up, I see.
I'm on it.
Wow.
Fancy him?
Wow, Twiggy the squirrel. Oh, the stories he could tell. Thank you both for taking us through the papers. See you a little later on.